Hi, my name is Emma Seven, and I will be doing my PR ethics project on the Boeing plane crashes that occurred in 2018 and 2019. Basically, the backstory is that in 2018, Boeing had a plane crash that killed everyone on the plane, and obviously it was a very big deal, and they had said that they were going to fix the issue and it wasn't going to happen again. They claimed that it was their automated air traffic control system that malfunctioned, and that was the reason why the plane crash occurred. So they said they were going to fix it, and then a very similar plane crash happened again in 2019 under very similar circumstances, leading everyone to realize that they had not fixed the issue. This was a very big PR crisis because when people were asking Boeing to make statements, their CEO was not taking any sort of responsibility. It didn't really seem like he had very much remorse for the situation. And so it was just a big PR scandal because of the way that the CEO handled the situation. So, after reviewing the entire situation, I think the CEO could have certainly benefited from adopting some Christian ethics into the way that he handled the situation. Primarily, I think having a little bit more compassion and empathy would have gone a long way for the public's perception of the CEO. Like I said, it didn't really seem like he had very much compassion for the situation, and it was just not a good look. So, obviously, optics are not the number one reason why he should be using Christian ethics, but it would have made the situation a lot smoother had he had some more empathy, obviously. Honesty would have been another ethic that I wish he would have adopted. It sounds like there wasn't a whole lot of transparency or honesty going on because they had promised they were going to fix the issue and they obviously didn't. And so that was a lie that led to another fatal plane crash. And so I think there was a lot of honesty lacking in this whole situation and in the general procedures that Boeing has. And then finally, I think there is also a big element of justice missing with all of this because people lost so many family members, loved ones due to these plane crashes. And because there wasn't really any responsibility accepted, I don't really feel like there was a whole lot of justice in the situation. Obviously, you can't bring people back once they've passed due to a tragedy like this, but to not even accept responsibility, not really administer any sort of an apology, and, offer no sort of like restitution for these families, I think was a really big miscalculation on the CEO's part. I think people now have developed a really big like mistrust against Boeing, and I feel like the CEO is definitely partially to blame for sure. Obviously, they have faulty systems going on within these planes to be causing these accidents, but the public would have received this tragedy so much more easy had the CEO not been such a jerk about the situation, basically. And then finally, after, in addition to like what sort of ethics the CEO should have been adopting, I think, some different courses of action could have definitely been taken. I feel like they definitely should have had some sort of like a no holds bar press conference, where people could have asked the questions that they really wanted to be asking to get more information on how this happened, why this happened, what are they going to do to prevent it from happening in the future. I think a press conference definitely should have happened. And again, apology and ownership should have been the CEO's like first instinct when it came to how he was going to respond to this whole situation. So ethically, I feel like he obviously owed the public an apology. And so I think that is something that should have happened. And then in addition to that, transparency from here on out, I think is the very least that this company could do to make sure that the public feels safe and informed and able to book a flight with them again, knowing that this won't happen again. And I think Boeing definitely should have been more, in addition to that transparency, they should have been more transparent on what they were doing to fix the situation in the moment, and then like what investigation they were running to figure out what the problem was, because the the CEO kind of blamed it on a couple different things. Like at first he said that it was the automated traffic control system, and then he said that it was the pilots that didn't do proper safety protocols, and then when it was discovered that they did in fact do those protocols, then he backtracked and then said that it was something else. So I think just being more transparent with the investigation to figure out what the actual issue was, more transparent on the updates or more transparent in giving updates to the public for what they were doing to fix the problem. And yeah, just general transparency to make sure that everyone feels safe and informed, I think, would be the very least that this company could do to align themselves better with ethical standards that they should have been upholding this whole time. So yeah, that would be my advice had I been, somewhat involved in the public relations side of this whole fiasco that happened.